the city budget, they say they're going to be at least $20 million in the hole. That's what it's looking like right now. So I want to know, what would you cut? And Brandon, we'll start with you. You know, that's a lot of money. What's on the chopping block for you?
Yes, it is projected that there will be a $20 million deficit in the city's budget. The city has an operation of nearly $2 billion. What I would not do is I will not touch public safety. If anything, we should enhance public safety.
Is there a limit to then? You know, public safety is always like police and fire about half the budget, at least half the general fund. Is there ever a limit for you, you know, percentage-wise?
No, that should be an open-end question. But what I would also do is, you know, the hiring freeze. We should stop hiring right now and put a freeze to hiring. And not only that, the jobs of the employees who are retiring. You know, is it necessary to fill those positions right now? If not, then we should, you know, not refill those positions once retirees are retired. And if we can save a few $1,000, a few $1 million here and there, that's what we would do. Yes, $20 million is a lot of money, but at the same time, the services of the city that we provide to the citizens should be sustainable. It should be status quo. It should be the same. And if we can find, you know, perhaps other departments, public utilities, even city council, even the mayor's office, then we need to make a reduction in that as well.
Right. You're a trustee for the Sanger Unified School Board. You deal with budgets. Have you had to cut budgets for Sanger Unified? And if so, you know, give me some examples of what you decided to cut.
The answer is no, I have not for my 9-year tenures, and looking for our next fiscal budget, we are not at risk of laying off any employees or having to cut off any programs. So Sanger Unified has been, when it comes to policy, we have been conservative, but at the same time, we are able to meet the programs and the needs of the students and the parents of our school district.
All right, Elizabeth, $20 million, how do you solve that?
So I'll go back to my experience when I worked at City Hall. I remember distinctly I was one of those positions that was hired and subsequently had to leave City Hall because of the economic downturn. So I know personally how city finances can uproot lives and affect individuals. There were many colleagues that lost their homes and lost their livelihoods as part of that. So city and budgeting and fiscal prudence are really important to me on a very personal level. And so we're not at the position yet of preventing some of this, but I think first and foremost, of course, we look at attrition in non-frontline positions. And then I really believe in asking our bargaining units first. We have a good portion of our contracts that are opening up this year, and I think we need to involve our employees in the process. They are experts. They know how the programs operate, how programs could operate more efficiently, and how we could implement cost-saving measures. And I think that's the best way in order to keep programs operating in a way that our constituents aren't feeling a reduction in services while at the same time being able to save money.
Now, as a Fresno Unified trustee, you deal with a budget that's almost the size of Fresno, if not bigger.
Yep.
Have you had to deal with budget cuts there? How did you handle that? What did you cut?
So I do have the perspective of dealing with a budget almost the same size as the city of Fresno. And thankfully, we've been able to have a healthy reserve. We have seen with the economy being less than it has been in the past, we've been in a expansion mode for the last 8 years, and this year being the first year that it's been contracting. So long story short, we have not had to lay off people because we've been fiscally prudent. We still have a high credit rating. We still have prudent reserves, and we have been able to maintain our workforce because we've been able to be fiscally prudent and continue to provide a high level of programming for our students.
Jose, $20 million budget shortfall. If elected, you're going to be jumping right into the budget process. So what's in the chopping block?
When I worked for Fresno County, I worked for the Fresno County Administrative Office right below the Board of Supervisors. And we had to explore all kinds of possibilities to to cut back. And one of the things that obviously was a priority, and I would still do it, is essential services like public safety and fire would be the last to touch. Those would be my highest priority. The areas where I would explore cutting would be support services. By that I mean it might be the attorneys, purchasing, some of the administrative functions that are not necessarily in the business of delivering services to the public. That would be the way I would approach it. The other way that we did it at the county was through a hiring freeze, and through attrition, and we always at the county try to avoid laying people off if we can do it. But sometimes there may be there is such a need sometimes to lay people off, and if that becomes necessary, I would do it. I mean, obviously, the one other thing that I would do, I would lead by example. As a council member, I would submit an item on the agenda and ask that the salaries of the council members also be reduced, because we had a very drastic increase recently that I think if we are asking employees to sacrifice, we should also sacrifice. Just because the council happens to be at the top as policymakers, it doesn't mean that we should not also suffer the consequences of reducing the funding.
That's an interesting idea. All right, 15-second response. Do you support cutting council member salary, Brandon?
I do. What I can promise is that, if this $20 million shortfall goes through, the increase in the scheduled steps of the city council members should be freezed.
Right, and Elizabeth?
If employees are furloughed, I will furlough myself as well.
All right. And another 15-second response. Elizabeth, would you support putting any tax measure on the ballot to help with the shortfall?
To help with the shortfall, specifically, no. I have voiced my support and will continue to voice my support for a public safety tax that's been floating around. However, I know it's 15 seconds, but I would have very strict strings attached to that.
Jose?
No, until we do evaluations of how we're delivering services, management audits, to identify inefficient components of city government that need to be removed.
Brandon,
The people is already overtaxed, and the answer to that is no. I believe the city can find other areas where we can meet that $20 million shortfall.